Hello, everybody. We're getting started soon. I got a few more things to get set up, but hello, Mike.
Hi.
Chef, what do you prefer? Numpad notation or letter notation?
What?
What do you prefer? Numpad notation or just regular like letters notation?
Okay, notepad notation. Is that what you said first?
Numpad.
Numpad? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. That
He has
one.
no idea what you mean.
I have no idea what he means.
Yes, perfect. It doesn't matter.
But I gave you an
you're
answer.
correct.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'll always give you an answer.
If I tell you to do a Hadoken, do you prefer if I say quarter circle forward as in QCF, or do you prefer if I say 236?
I'm gonna prefer quarter circle. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's fucking Street Fighter. Street Fighter is latest.
All right, stop distracting Jeff. He's getting ready for the
No,
podcast.
I'm still good. I'm pressing the
No,
button
he's-
still.
Did you tweet?
No, that's what. But I had to do something else first before I could do that.
Okay.
But now I
You
have
all
that.
know
in front
about
of me.
Jeff's multitasking skills.
They're very good.
Yeah, I'm on top of it.
I just played through Quack Shot.
How'd that go?
We can tell.
That was good. It was fun. I'm gonna maybe speed run it later.
All right.
Get a run done, then beat the Dan.
Speed run. Speed run 82, baby.
If I don't have the rundown, and I know it's not Nintendo related, we're gonna talk about Xbox a little bit.
Sure.
Screw it. You got to talk about already. I haven't.
That's fine.
And what about my needs, Jeff?
Yeah, that's what matters. That's what matters most.
How about
I agree.
Listeners' feelings.
And then if we do
goddammit?
this-
God, Yabara. Yabara tweets through it sometimes, man.
Oh yeah, not afraid of that.
Just to take away that Twitter from somebody, a friend.
All right, it's gonna go loud. That's gonna go loud. I'm gonna turn it off. There it is.
Hey, you
No,
guys
you're gonna
hear
start
me?
over?
Start cheering now.
Whatever. Okay. I think we're good to go. I tweeted.
We're good to go.
Yeah. Let me bring
Cool.
up the rundown, and then I'll be ready.
Cool.
Trying to go I went to the window I went or the tab I went to is that one of those guys saying that I am the Jeff Grubb author. Weird podcast. Weird podcast, fellas. All right. I am for real ready. Mike, you want me to count you in?
Yes, sir.
All
Do
right.
it.
Well, let me bring up the cameras. Then we're gonna get started in 5, 4, 3.
Hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now. Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. Hi, I'm Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog.
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I am a Nintendog.
And we are the last of the Nintendogs. Today, Nintendo's financials and a promise of a direct in June, and sometime later than that, actual news about the Switch too. And what's going on over there in that greenhouse? But first, Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. My kid came home from school afraid of Skibbity Toilet. She's like
Oh my gosh.
really straight up. She's like, I don't know if she saw it. I don't know if someone showed it to her. But I think
probably.
I think someone probably just described it to her because I'm like, oh, were you watching YouTube in kindergarten or preschool? She's not even in kindergarten. She's in preschool. And I don't think so. But I think the other kids are like, it's weird and scary. And she sometimes builds things up in her mind. It's Addie, you know.
I know somebody told me what this is, but what? It's a dirty toilet?
It's a Half-Life toilet, and then inside the Half-Life toilet is if
A
it's
monster?
It's not even a monster. It's
No.
not. Is it the head of the not the Smoking Man, whatever his name is, or is
The
it
G-Man?
G-Man?
Yeah.
It's either the G-Man or one of the other characters. I know later on in like part 76
The
of the
Smoking
Skibbity Man saga, the G-Man is on a giant toilet with rocket launchers and stuff like that attacking cities. But
I
I don't know
see.
if he's
The
the one
Great
in
War.
the toilet as well.
I'm scared of Skibidi Toilet as well, and I'm a full-grown adult, so I don't know.
I think it's very charming.
Well, how did you comfort your child?
I try to be like, this is a silly thing, not something worth being scared of.
Yeah.
But when she decides she's scared, she's scared. What can I do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you can't. Can you really talk children out of being
Not
scared?
this one.
I don't know.
Not this
Not
one.
that one.
Nope.
She's scared. She's scared a lot.
When she
She a
gets
coward, Jeff? Is your child a coward?
yeah, she said, yeah, I'll say it to her face. I don't care. When she gets scared, she's really scared of something, but she's rarely ever scared. But like in these moments, she like really builds it up. So yeah.
Now I'm scared.
Speaking of being scared, I know this is a Nintendo podcast. We have plenty of Nintendo stuff to talk about, but the big news of the day is what is going on with Xbox shutting down a few.
Well, the games
studios.
are bad. Shut it down. Oh, the games are good. Shut it down. Okay,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Shutting down any studio is awful. The Tango GameWorks one is really throwing people for a loop because
Yep.
Hi-Fi Rush came out, a bit over a year ago, and it was very good. And I know you're not the kind to shove it in people's face. You talked about way back when that game did not make maybe the money they were hoping for, and people got very mad at you, and people from Xbox even had to kind of come out because of that, be like, no, we're super happy with it. And that quote's being really dragged out now, like, oh, you said it, you're happy and it met all your metrics. Was that a lie?
Well, it's worse if it's not a lie, right? If we're happy with it and they still get shut down, what the fuck is happening here? But it was kind of a lie, yes.
So, man, I don't know. Confidence in Xbox right now sure is just at an all-time low. Because we've already. It's one thing, we know things are going great in certain ways. Game Pass has stagnated. Halo Infinite was everything it needs to be. Starfield was everything it needs to be. But they have gotten some breaks, right? I mean, they have bought Activision. They have Call of Duty, Candy Crush money. They have World of Warcraft money now that's rebounding. We're just talking about, wow, the Fallout show's popping off, and look at all these Fallout numbers. That's great, isn't it? Well, that doesn't matter either. It's like whenever they do catch a break, it's like, so that's good, right? It doesn't really matter. We're still going to shut down successful game studios. I don't, and it's also just crazy how counter this is to so much of the dialogue over there from people about we like these small games because it's good for Game Pass. And we want companies to try new things, not just keep going back to the well. There's that, thing Sarah Bond said, like, man, we shut down Lionhead Studios and we reflected on that. Wasn't that some bad thing? Right here, we just are again. And I get it. Hey, maybe it's not necessarily Sarah Bond, Matt Booty, Phil Spencer making these decisions. I don't know. Maybe it's someone at the top. Doesn't really matter. They're the ones in charge. If there was a direction, that's gone. And now I don't think there is a direction, except let's just be Activision 2. Let's just count on all that sweet Call of Duty money. And how can we make more Call of Duty money? Because that's what they're talking about. It's just reinvesting in the big franchises. We're just back to that. It's just like, what are the 5 games that hit? Let's just put everything in that. Don't worry about these small games. Are we going to get another Pentiment again? I don't know. Everyone's freaking out what's going to happen to a Ninja Theory or a Double Fine if their next games aren't giant hits. Like, not even hits, apparently, just giant hits. And how big of a hit can Hellblade 2 be? That game comes out in 2 weeks and nobody knows.
It's $40.
They positioned that game originally. I was like, oh, so they're like trying to make Hellblade into something. And then they kind of been like lowering our expectations. Like, actually, it's short. And it's a $40 game. I don't know, Jeff. I know I just kind of went off a lot there myself. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I get like you said earlier before we got started, I had this conversation on Bombcast, and your thoughts echo most of my feelings. I think that it's I could try to sit down and analyze it and figure out, try to add some logic to what I think is happening here, but they're not doing that. So why am I going to give them the benefit of that doubt, of the doubt of to that degree, and be like, well, the people mostly left Arcane Austin, right? That's the story, the Schreier story from when that game was getting made, Redfall. It's like they all left. And so that team already had a ton of turnover, and I bet they were having trouble hiring up. Whatever. See it through is kind of what I'm like. You have enough money. And yeah, you're in a bad time right now with maybe one of those studios. See it through. And the other studio, the other big studio here that, you know, that we're talking about, the Tango Gameworks, is one that has had a successful game, has had other games that are to varying degrees beloved, with Evil Within. And even like Ghostwire Tokyo has its defenders. I think there's something to be said for seeing these things through and proving that you can like rebuild these studios. Or with Tango Gameworks, you said you are already happy. So how do you not just figure out a way to make that work?
Right.
It's very frustrating.
Even after Redfall, which was like a huge disaster, and to be clear, that is also a Microsoft. That is still their problem. It happened under their watch, but it was a big disaster. They were talking about, oh, we want to turn around. We want to, you know, try to do right. And now, you know, there's promised DLC or whatever that's just not getting released. People who paid for some expensive edition of that game. Again, confidence in that Xbox brand just seems rough. And again, like the other thing, like, oh, yeah, well, we're gonna put our games on more consoles, right? Okay, so that gives you a boost, right? Right? Again, no, we're still gonna do this shit.
Yeah, a couple weeks later,
they're still gonna do this shit.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Christian?
There were rumors that they were working on a big patch for Redfall.
Yeah,
they were. I mean, they're obviously working on it.
And that's never gonna come out now. And
right.
And they, you know, Tango Gameworks apparently was getting Hi-Fi Rush up and running on the Switch. That's in question. That probably doesn't happen now. Why?
That's not happening.
Yeah, you shouldn't release that.
Well, I think they said they said it will be supported on the platforms it is on. So
that's right. You're right. That was what they were saying. You're right. Good point.
Of Hi-Fi Rush anymore, which is the platform it should have been on.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Christian.
Wasn't a big like part of their like strategy for Tango Gameworks to be like their like Japanese like big studio, like
it was their one Japanese studio, and they said that was important. But they say a lot of things, don't they?
They say a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, they definitely talked about Japan, and then they would talk about Tango Gameworks in the same breath, at the very least, Christian. So yeah, there's something to that. I mean, I think the confidence thing really is it, though, right, Mike? Where it's everyone is struggling right now. All these companies are having a difficult time figuring it out. I think when you look around the industry, I have a pretty good sense of what most of these companies think they're going to do to get out on the other side of it. And with Microsoft, it feels like burn it down and swing wildly and then panic and close things. I mean, after spending $69 billion to acquire the biggest, you know, video game company you could find, it's so all over the place that it feels incoherent. It feels like it's visionless. And so, yeah, why would I have any confidence? I don't know what they're going to do next. And I'm sure they'll be able to do the thing they've always been able to do and come out and do the dance and try to rebuild confidence and say, you know, here's what really happened. And but like, we've done this so many times now that it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be ready to accept that or, you know, receptive to that in the first place.
It's like before I would appreciate the candor, right? This time I don't even know if I care about the candor, right? Maybe spare me it. I don't know. And again, you know, PlayStation side of things, I know just because it happened a couple months ago, maybe people forgot. They like fired 900 people. They had a whole fiasco this weekend that already they're not the villain of the week anymore.
Yeah.
With Helldivers. They don't necessarily have a direction because their games are getting just insanely expensive to make. Again, we don't really know what's coming out for them for the next of the year. We don't know if it'll be anything big.
I have a small idea. Allow me to tell you after the show. I won't say it publicly because I can't confirm it, but you know, I'll tell Mike in case it turns out to be right, and then he can tell people later.
Yeah, I can confirm that. Just smart.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but you know, there are situations like, oh, maybe Naughty Dog doesn't make a new game for this whole console generation. I don't know. The whole thing going on with Xbox and PlayStation right now, it's kind of scary. And I know Nintendo seems like they're in a good spot right now. They had a great console, and they're going to be launching a new one. But we've seen Nintendo slip before. It wouldn't take much, and then things could get real scary there. So, and you know, maybe it's a bit much to take this and have it be an indictment of the whole industry, but it feels like it's been bad news about the whole industry for a while now.
I mean, I don't know. You said it. It feels like Sony and Microsoft aren't the future, and I think that is a scarier proposition than we're realizing. Just saying it like that. Okay, that's a lot of money, though, and not that they're going to go away. They'll be around, but Microsoft
Sega didn't go away.
Yeah, Sega didn't go away. And I don't think
it'll be depressing though if after all that, after like being born and it was Nintendo, and then all these competitors kind of rose up, and then then we're just back to Nintendo again. That's not good. I don't want that.
And I don't think that's like the world we're gonna really be in. But I think that there's a chance that these companies could both be a shadow of themselves in 10 years because the growth isn't there, and they kind of have to just try to coast because reinvesting in this business doesn't make sense for them. Especially if every reinvestment between now and 10 years from now fails, which it could. Because there is no obvious answer, and big games come out of nowhere and eat their lunch constantly. In that scenario, they both just sort of try to coast as long as possible. And at this point, it's like, well, okay, Microsoft never really got it figured out. Oh well, they own a lot of stuff, so hopefully most of that stuff doesn't go away. And in Sony's case, it's like, man, that was like a real platform that had a vision and an identity. And again, not the likeliest scenarios that it goes away or anything like that. But there's just a chance that these companies really recede from gaming in a strong way down the line, and that would be depressing.
Yeah, it absolutely would. I mean, I guess I thought part of the point of all that Call of Duty and Candy Crush money was help keep all ships afloat and all that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Instead, it's like they're turning the cannons around on themselves.
And that's, I mean, again, that when I talked about this on the Bombcast, it does seem like that's how Xbox operates, where each developer, each studio has their own profit and loss sheet, and they can't rely on the profits of the company next door or the development studio next door. They have to make money for themselves to sort of justify everything.
Because there's no spare money to go around at Microsoft.
Right. And that's what you start to ask that question. Like, wait, why does it work that way? Especially if it's like you're trying to build up this identity and portfolio and a strong sort of brand identity. It starts with something like a Hi-Fi Rush. And then you build on that with a sequel, and then the next game from that studio is bigger than ever, and they're going to use everything they learned from the last two Hi-Fi Rush games you like so much. That's how it works, and you you smooth the road for them using the money that you get from the $2 billion in profits you make every quarter. You know, they make actually way more than every quarter, but last quarter that's what they made.
It's just this has been a historic problem with Microsoft and Xbox, and just never sticking with something long enough to make a franchise out of it, even when they are good games, like going back to something like a Crimson Skies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's not the biggest hit immediately, it'll get dropped, and sometimes even then it'll get dropped anyways. It's just beyond frustrating.
Yep. And then there's Nintendo, like just kind of turning away from the fray at every opportunity and doing their own thing, and it works. And I don't think that's like, obviously that's the recipe for success. That's a hard thing to do. But
imagine if, like, during the Wii era, Nintendo was like, Skyward Sword, that like sold a lot less than the last Zelda. Let's just put all of those people on the Wii Fit team.
Yep. Yes.
What are we talking?
It's absurd because of course that would never happen. Of course they know better, and they did.
All right. Maybe if there's more super chats, we'll talk about that a little bit more.
Feel free to drop those, everybody.
It's just baffling, and I don't know. Maybe the ship can be course corrected. I don't know. I'm losing confidence more and more every day.
Yep.
So Nintendo did have financial reports today, slightly below, I think, their forecast. Nothing crazy like that.
I think the Switch hardware sales were like just above their forecast, but I think the revenues were a little bit below.
Right. So I think they did also lower the forecast for
a couple months back. Yeah. Or for the upcoming year.
The next coming year.
Yeah, I mean, they're still expected to sell like 13 million Switches.
They're still expecting to sell. So the big thing here, so they still sold 13.5 million is forecasted for the financial year 2025. That would put total Switch sales at 155 million, basically. Right now, they're at 141.3.
That's right.
So they're getting kind of closer to that 150, which is where DS is. If they meet this
forecast, they will be at the DS.
Right. Before we talk about that some more, the kind of the big thing here, we're all wondering if we're going to hear about the Switch 2. And we got this message from Furukawa saying, we will make an announcement about the successor to Nintendo Switch within this fiscal year. It will have been over 9 years since we announced the existence of Switch back in March 2015.
So that's by March of 2025.
So, okay. They at least acknowledge that there is going to be another console.
Right.
It's small. It's not much. It is an important step to all of this, though. So at least that happened.
Yes. Yeah. And we all had a pretty good sense. The people listening to the show had a pretty good sense that this is exactly how it would go down. We would get to one of these financial reports, likely this one. I think that's why that March 27th document that popped off on Twitter yesterday, it was so easy to fall for that. Like when I saw that and incorrectly put that in GMM, it was because it's like, yeah, that sounds right. I bet that does happen at that show, at the investor meeting tomorrow. And lo and behold, it did. And now it's like, okay, yeah, things are falling into place. When do they actually talk about it? I'm not sure, but I'm actually pretty curious about this 13 million Switch 1 number, because like Sirkin Toto was talking to, I think, VGC, and he's like, that's a lot. How are they going to get that if they don't have exciting new software or a price cut? And I asked this to the guys on the Bombcast today. I'll ask you, what do you think's more likely? Exciting games that help them sell 13 million consoles, or a price cut?
I'll be honest, I think I'm maybe taking the other position here.
That's fine.
I think maybe price cut finally. I think, especially when you start talking about a Switch 2 finally, and maybe you don't have a ton of games. I mean, it's been a long time. It's impressive how long it has been. I think maybe finally time, and why not cut the price one last time? Sell some more software for this holiday season. Get some more Switches out there.
Sure.
All those people are going to be able to carry that over to the Switch 2. Like, why not finally cut the price a bit? Okay.
That last point sways me a little bit, because I would say the reason they wouldn't cut the price is you have a $300 Switch or $350 OLED on the shelf. That makes it a lot easier to sell a $400 Switch 2 or $400 plus Switch 2. If you cut the price of the Switch, then the next system looks even that much more expensive if they keep it at $400 or more. So I think that it helps them with positioning a little bit, and they've been able to sell this thing just fine without lowering the price. Now, the point about them being able to carry that forward to the Switch 2, that's interesting, because in that last year, you get people buying software for the Switch, maybe at if 10 to 30% of those people buying Switches are new Switch purchases. It's probably more than that, but let's just say it's that low number. That's still like people building up momentum and a software library to carry forward to the Switch 2. That's kind of compelling. I'll say that I think both are possible. I don't know if it's going to be like an across the board price cut, but on the Bombcast, we talked about how, hey, it could be Switch Lite has a deep discount for quite some time, maybe timed with a big game release or something like that for kids, and that would help ship a lot of those there at the end of the generation. I could see that happening.
To imagine what the big game release scheme. There will be games that people be interested in, like a Fire Emblem remake, some more Zelda ports. I mean, but even like if it was Metroid Prime 4, that will probably not big enough to justify those kind of numbers. Pokemon, those usually get discussed in the Pokemon Presents, and we had one, and they talked about the next Legends game that's coming out next year. So, and it's not going to be Mario, because obviously that's going to be Switch. Can't be Zelda, can't be Mario Kart, can't be Animal Crossing. Maybe it could be these things.
Even if it was Metroid Prime 4, which we disagree,
exactly.
and I don't really know what I believe anymore on that.
I don't know either. Who knows?
Yeah,
it could be,
but that's not the thing that helps. Like, someone in chat pointed out, like, they're expecting to sell 165 million pieces of software this year, which is a really, really, really big number. So, like, most Nintendo consoles in their lifetime didn't sell over 1 billion pieces of software, and they're expecting to do
Zero finally coming to Switch. All right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's going to be the momentum of the Switch, just having so many out there and people really liking playing games on their Switch still. But they clearly need something if they're hitting these numbers, though, and but some combination of price cut, exciting new game, things like that. Yeah, but I don't know what that looks like. I mean, the good news is we're probably going to find out in June, right?
Right, so that's the other part of this. For a cause says we will be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding the Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 2024. But please be aware that there will be no mention of the Switch successor during that presentation. Very interesting, multiple ways. Got right out ahead of it, said, hey, we will not talk about the Switch 2 here. And even just saying, in this, I can't remember at least a Direct getting quote unquote announced like this. It usually is a tweet, and then it happens a couple days later. Getting out this far ahead, I think, really is them trying to massage fears a little bit. Like, yeah, there's going to be a Direct. We have some games to talk about, because right now there's two. There are two scheduled Nintendo games. There's Thousand Year Door and Luigi's Mansion 2. Right?
Yep.
And that's it. So it's a little scary, and people do want to know about the Switch, and it's good to tell them right now, yeah, that's going to be talked about later. Not at this thing, though. This is about the rest of the software.
This thing probably starts leaking soon, so it's like this gets out of the way of that, too.
So at least it's good to know there is software coming, and we're going to be hearing things there. And again, I think we have some expectations of what that is. And it is, stuff like Zelda ports, almost certainly that Fire Emblem remake that's been swirling around for a while now. But yeah, there's got to be.
I mean, Jazz Cabbage points out like
something.
That Pokemon game is supposed to come out in the first part of next year, right?
Yeah.
So that's the fiscal year. That
is fiscal year, huh?
Right. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that Pokemon is like the key here, because that's like what I keep going back to, because even once Switch 2 is announced, even when it's like fully revealed and everything, Switch and Pokemon will still sell together when parents buy that for their children. And that's going to have some immunity to that hype. So I think
maybe it was just 2025 for Legends. It might not be for half or first quarter even.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think they did the last Legends in the early part of the year, so I think that's why we would assume that.
That's why my head went there also, because that was a January game.
Either way, we'll see. I would lean towards, if the Legends game's coming out, they should put it out in the first part of the year. And that's
it makes
a
more
big
sense
part
than
of
anything else right now, because I have no idea what else would move
and that game
much.
That game, we assume that sells 15 million copies. I mean, what did the Legends 1 did, like 14 to 20 million?
Well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that makes up a huge portion of that 165 million. But I don't know if it makes enough to make that huge number make sense. So I would expect at least one other thing that we're not really thinking about now.
Right. I mean, there was that story. We learned a lot more thanks to Did You Know Gaming about that Donkey Kong 3D platformer that Vicarious Visions was working on, and that got scrapped a good while ago. So far back that was back when they're at Activision. We're like, no, we want you to work on Call of Duty, which was depressing. It's like, oh no, you're gonna just be absorbed into Blizzard, which is like depressing in a different way. But it's so absorbed that there's no unabsorbing them now, right?
No,
you can't take them out of it.
Nope, toothpaste out of the tube there.
So that's a whole upsetting thing, because I think Vicarious Visions making a 3D Donkey Kong game would have been incredible.
I would have been so on board for that.
Good to think about what we missed there for a very, very long time. But it's been so long now that maybe since then, Nintendo's got somebody internally or somebody else working on a Donkey Kong game. It is kind of like the one big franchise of theirs that we have not seen on the Switch proper at all, aside from the re-release of Tropical Freeze, a Wii U game. So like that, maybe there's still something Donkey Kong squeaking out. I don't know if Donkey Kong sells like 10 million copies. Kirby in the Forgotten Land is doing very well. I think it's like close to 8 million or something now. Very good for Kirby, and a lot of that was the hype and excitement of it going to 3D. So I think it would have to be something like that, and not just another Donkey Kong Country style thing.
Right. I mean, what this tells us, what the Vicarious Vision story tells us, is they wanted a 3D Donkey Kong game, right? And they didn't get it from Vicarious Visions, but that doesn't mean that desire went away. I think, I mean, you're right that would probably do much better than the last couple Donkey Kong Countries. I was like, is Nintendo misremembering and like thinking like Donkey Kong Country sold so well because it was Donkey Kong and not because it was like that whole, hey, Silicon graphics, 3D graphics on your Super Nintendo? Like, they had really good marketing for that game. That's what happened there. And then we find out with the other Donkey Kong Country games from Retro, it's like they still do well, but it's not like that anymore.
Now I'm curious how well did like Returns do. That's a game that was available on Wii and 3DS, which were very big systems. So yeah, I'm curious how much that one sold. I think it'd be a good indicator of kind of what you should expect-ish.
Yes, good idea. And then probably add like one factor on there for the 3D and the Switch factor. But while you're looking that up, I think that we know that they also want Donkey Kong for circumstantial reasons of likely going to be big part of the future movies, and obviously Super Mario or Super Nintendo World is having a Donkey Kong thing. So they're investing in Donkey Kong in other areas. The safe assumption is that's going to include a game as well.
Yeah, I think if you combine both platforms, because these are some older numbers, I'm going to round up a little bit, about 7 million, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Like 5 million just for the Wii.
I think if Luigi's Mansion 3, I think it could do Luigi's Mansion 3 numbers if it's a really high quality 3D platformer. Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is like, if it's a high quality 3D platformer, who's making that? If it was a 2D one, well, it can't be Retro making it now.
Sure, yeah. Who knows?
I mean, if you want to start making that now, the good news is I guess you can contract Toys for Bob now, huh? Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they left Microsoft, immediately took a Microsoft contract, but yeah, maybe they could start up another team. Why not?
Why did some people posited this? Why did they get to like go off and do their own thing instead of just getting closed down entirely.
My guess would go back to that kind of thing of who's there that wants to like pick up the torch. So all the original people from Arcane left, Tango Gameworks, Shinji Mikami left. These are people that are left there are probably going to just go start their own thing and not have to worry about who there really wants to keep Tango Gameworks going if Microsoft money is gone. Probably not many people.
Okay, so we got Switch 2, we got the Direct coming. There was like one other thing where investor asked like, oh, like what is this? Is this like trying to get clarification on what the Switch successor is? And for Carl, basically like it would be correct to call it the successor to the Switch. And some people I think were trying to glean things from that, like, oh, maybe it's a Pro model. No,
it's a Switch 2.
Switch 2.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think this thing is the Pro model that's been not like it's not going to come out big Pro, but the Pro model that they were working on, and they just like, no, let's take that back in and actually beef it up so it's a full on 2. I think this is like the successor to that, but it's going to be a full new console in the way that we're used to that thing. It's just going to still mostly be a Switch in form and function.
And I bet as soon as we hear anything about this, I bet they are going to tell people very quickly that it's backward compatible. Oh, yeah. So everybody feels very good continuing to buy Switch games from now until this thing launches.
They'll do two things. They'll talk very much about how it's backward compatible and that your library carries over. And then they'll also talk about, and here's how it's a Switch 2. It's a whole new thing. It's not a U. It's not an add-on for your Switch. It's a whole new thing. It looks different in a bunch of ways. Electromagnetic suction. What don't you people understand?
It's so much suction. Here's some sales numbers, Jeff, for some of the more recent games. Super Mario Brothers Wonder is at 13.44 million copies sold. Very good numbers for that. Yep. New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe is at 17.45 million, by the way. So, you would hope that this catches up to that.
I think it will this holiday.
Yeah. Pikmin 4 at 3.48 million copies sold. I guess I don't know. That's part of me is like, that's got to be a new high for Pikmin, right?
I think so.
Pikmin 3 Deluxe probably did well.
I think this is the best-selling Pikmin game now. Yes, I think so.
Super Mario RPG did 3.31 million copies. I don't know what the best-selling Mario RPG was ever. I feel like this might have a good shot.
Yeah, probably has a chance. Some of those Mario and Luigi games came out on DS, and that was really popular, but I bet they didn't do this. I bet it's like right around here, probably around 3.5 million.
I think given the scale and what this project probably cost, that has to be a pretty big success for Super Mario RPG.
I would hope so.
Right. And I bet Thousand Year Door is going to do similarly well. Princess Peach Showtime, 1.22 million. I think about what we expected from.
Yeah, I think that's great for that game. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's probably right in line with all those like Yoshi games that Good Times did. It's Good Times, right? Yeah.
And Marvel vs. Donkey Kong, just a little bit below that, 1.12 million. Again, pretty good again for the scale of what that whole thing was, right?
Yep, absolutely. Look, just slap some new graphics on a Game Boy Advance game. Absolutely, that's really well done. I mean, selling 1 million copies in a quarter for any game is an accomplishment. For these games, that's very good.
Yep. So that's exactly right. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still the best-selling Switch game. Now it's 61.97 million copies sold. What's funny is there was a time when like Animal Crossing was really popping off where it was kind of almost like neck and neck with Mario Kart for a while, but Mario Kart just never lost any momentum. Animal Crossing is still number 2 at 45.36 million, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe just in a league of its own.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a whole other thing. I mean, I think part of that, of course, is pack-in games, but it's so much more than that. This is clearly just the game of the generation for a lot of people.
Yep. I don't know, Jeff, if there's anything else you see in those numbers that you think is interesting.
I think the only thing I would point out is that, Tears of the Kingdom versus Breath of the Wild. I think Tears of the Kingdom, it like raced to 20 million, and it's kind of been in that 20 million range since. I get the sense that's like, yeah, the people that wanted more Breath of the Wild showed up, and there was a lot of other people waiting in the wings to be like, well, tell me when the real new Zelda's here. I'm starting to get that sense. Not that I agree with that sentiment. For me, Tears of the Kingdom absolutely is new and blows my mind and all this stuff. But I think a lot of people are like, yeah, I'll get the next one on like when it feels like it's an actual update and uses a different map and all that stuff. Does that sound right to you?
I don't know, maybe because like part of me is like, oh no, it's sold 20 million. That's fantastic. There's another part of me is like, man, how does not every single person who liked Breath of the Wild just pick this up? immediately. Not everybody did, right? The people who don't like Breath of the Wild love to tell you that they don't like it.
Yeah.
These people do exist. I don't know. I think it's just a victim of timing, right? Breath of the Wild got to come out early, and it got to be one of the must-have games for that console for like 7 years. And Tears of the Kingdom, it came out and it did really well, but it's going to lose some legs, even though the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible, and it's still going to carry over. People are still going to be buying this game. It's never really going to have a shot at having the same legs as Breath of the Wild.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably right.
Interesting. So Mario RPG, 3.31 million copies sold. Paper Mario and the Origami King, which did do pretty well, was 3.47 million copies sold. So just a little bit more, but like, and again, that's that number is from December 2021. I'm sure the game has sold more since then. Not a ton more, probably.
No. Looking at some of these other things, we get a few 100,000 copies sold a year for a lot of games like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all right, Jeff. What do you say we take a little break? We'll come back. I think we got a bunch of super chats.
Sounds good. I got the super chats right here.
All right, we'll be right back, everyone.
All right.
Gonna go bathroom real quick.
Jump back in. Oh, all right.
All right. Yeah, Breath of the Wild. Yeah, but I think when they count numbers in this list, isn't it just the Switch numbers? I guess Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a different game than Mario Kart 8. But yeah, and maybe not. But it does like the best-selling Switch games, because I think this is like when I look at the investor relations page, it seems to just refer to the Switch games. But I don't know, maybe not.
I believe they've combined Tears of the King or Breath of the Wild.
You think so? Okay, in that list. Okay, that makes sense.
Also,
it sold very well on the Wii U.
That's also it sold all right.
Sales are sales
for a Wii U game. It sold
for a Wii U game. Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. They do be selling that shit.
Sales
are sales, no matter what you sell them, brother.
That's true.
No tease, Connor. No tease until I can confirm it. Sorry. And even if I confirm it, it's like we're gonna be there pretty soon. Might as well just wait.
Just wait.
It'll be a fun thing anyhow. You'll want that to be revealed there. Just mouth it. Olive juice.
No.
Oh, I didn't mute myself. There you go. Now you know.
What's your favorite juice?
I don't get too excited for any juice really, but I like apple juice and I like you like a fruit punch or like or pineapple juice is pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Although it gives me heartburn.
Very refreshing.
Yeah.
Pineapple juice gives you heartburn. Huh.
Yeah, the acidity. Yeah.
I like juice or OJ. OJ or just
some good orange juice is good.
I can't drink it though. Doctor told me to not drink orange juice.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, got a Great Lakes Mexican lager.
Danny, he already beat your time. He's submitting it right now.
Wait, what?
Dan Reichert says, "Hey Mitch, congrats on starting Quackshot. Did you submit a run?" Yeah, he's already beat you. You dumb bitch.
Yeah, you gotta get back at Dan.
Sorry, I'm stoking the flames.
No, I was in a rush to just play through it, Dan. Before this podcast, I was using like save states. Don't worry.
Approve this message.
But I'm coming for you.
I did. I already approve it.
All right, we ready?
I'm ready.
We're ready.
Do it. Jeff, we're back. What do the super chats say?
Yeah, let's start here with Carlos Lopes, who says, "Hey guys, can games like Hi-Fi still exist, or can they not exist at Xbox? If these kinds of games are viable, why not sell the studios instead?" I mean, okay, a couple things here. These games can still exist. I think they're going to be fewer and farther between. But I hope there's a world in which more independent studios can make that stuff. But I think the reason you don't sell these studios is people probably aren't going to want them without the IP, and then sell them to themselves, like what happened. We talked about that a little bit. But I think the people at these studios likely are not going to want to stick around in that situation. Right.
And like at Xbox, I don't like at some point. I mean, Xbox kind of has to, unless they're going to close down a bunch more studios. Like I love Double Fine. I don't think Double Fine is in a position to make something much bigger than a Hi-Fi Rush or bigger than a Psychonauts 2, right? So, like, what else do you have Double Fine for? And again, like they used to be like, oh, because we have Game Pass, we need all sorts of games on Game Pass, and the minute Game Pass stops growing, it's just this retreat. And now what's going to happen when there are fewer and fewer games coming out the Game Pass? Like, are they concerned about losing subscribers. Like, I get it that they're not super excited about Game Pass anymore, but they're going to lose subscribers now. And then there's going to be this another downward spiral moment with Xbox where it's like, oh,
I mean, are they going to lose subscribers once Call of Duty's in Game Pass? I mean,
no,
maybe not. I don't know.
maybe not.
It's
Right.
I mean, look,
We really are in that era where the big game at the Xbox showcase is going to be Call of Duty, isn't it? We really are there.
Yeah, I think
I was kind
probably.
of joking when I tweeted about that like a week ago, but oh no.
I mean, there will be other surprises there, but yeah, I mean, you're right. I think at the end of the day, we've said this a bunch on these shows throughout this year, based on everything that's happening. If you care about interesting games, they're happening. It's in the indie space on Steam, mostly, primarily. Playing Hades 2 right now, Mike. That's a very good video game.
Yeah, there's tons of good games still. And again, like I am very specifically kind of worried about Xbox and PlayStation because I think PCs will this whole kind of console generation, at least in terms of them, all the excitement I had with PS5 and Xbox Series X, I think they've both been disappointing. It has both been such a gosh, I really should just be investing in PC games moment for me, at least with that stuff. And I'm trying to figure out what they can do. And it's like, well, the one thing they can do is make handhelds, but there's already handheld PCs and they're already ahead of the game there. And now Nintendo's going to have a new handheld. So you're not necessarily going to be significantly stronger than the Nintendo one. You're going to be stronger than it. You're also not going to have Nintendo games. I just don't know what they can do. And I'd like to imagine they're smarter than me, but maybe not.
I mean, they might be. Maybe they're smarter, but they also don't seem to have the wherewithal and the willpower to make these things happen. So I don't know. I'm losing confidence.
Yep.
Carlos Lopes returns and says Sony is struggling with the blockbuster-only model, so they diversified with live games. Why is Xbox doubling down on the same unsustainable model? I think they're both.
I thought about that.
Yes, yeah. I think we talked about this a little bit on Bombcast as well. I think they're both in a situation where they're like looking at one another and be like, "Wish we had that business because that would be at least be some growth for us." But it's like, oh, okay. It's haven't you both been trying that for a very long time? And okay, to Sony's point, Helldivers 2 clearly worked. And to Microsoft's point, you should make one of those games. So make one. Have at least one game like that, sure. But where? How? I mean, it's making one of those is so difficult. And
right, they had the Killing Floor, whatever that Ninja Theory multiplayer game was.
Yeah,
not quite. But again, it's like, yeah, Nintendo has games that sell 30 million units, but they also do things like a Mario vs. Donkey Kong that is never going to sell like 2 million units, maybe. Yep. And that's good too. And like Microsoft does have some of that, but it just, I don't understand what's wrong with that. And if that's not working for the books, you got to work on that. You got to figure it out. And look, I hate to bring this thing all up again, but maybe if we actually marketed Hi-Fi Rush, right? Maybe if we didn't just release it as a shadow drop and then undervalue it at $30, right? That was actually just too low. I know I want to be like, hey, it's great that we have to pay less money. That was undervaluing what that game was. You can shadow drop a known quantity if it's already been out on some other platform or it's part of a franchise. Just shadow dropping some brand new IP like that. You have a marketing team. You're paying people to market games. Let them market a game.
Yeah. I mean, clearly what they did didn't work. So, Mike, I think, yeah, you're probably right.
Cool.
Xbox is going to double down on the games that are working because that's the safe sort of like path right now, and they're afraid of risk. If that doesn't inspire confidence, it's because it shouldn't. It shouldn't. They're in a bad way. Mikey O'Leary says, just here being excited for chat, being very calm about everything tonight. Yeah, you know it, Mikey. You know it. Absolutely. Cody Bishop says, want to give a shout out to Jin's Reviews from the Grave, a mother/son YouTube show where they review horror movies and Tales from the Crypt episodes. Sounds like a good time.
Fun.
I like those Tales from the Crypt shows on HBO. It was on HBO, right? Or is that?
Oh, I never watched it. I was very scared.
Yeah. What am I thinking? I think it's Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, Tales from the Crypt was HBO. Yeah, that was great. Yes.
Oh, by the way, that game is called Bleeding Edge. Don't know where I got the Killing Floor.
There was a video game called The Killing Floor that got canceled. Yeah, it was like
it's a game. I didn't just make it up. Good.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I felt better.
Okay. Connell Wood says absolute clown shoes at Microsoft compared to the pit of money being wasted on chasing generative AI. Those studios are they're a goddamn rounding error. Yeah. It seems, God, yeah, all those companies like Google's like trying to get everybody to subscribe to Gemini. Mike, how's your Gemini subscription from Google?
I don't know. I'm too busy grokking it on Twitter. Of
course.
I'm grokking it so hard right now. Hey, yeah, look, I also read Stranger to Strangeland in high school. I didn't think it was cool, though. Like, come on.
Let's see. Zoomer says Phil catching heat, Satya not getting enough flack. Yeah, I mean, look, Phil. This is Phil. This is Phil. This is Phil and his team.
He's in charge of Xbox.
He's in charge. He's the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. You got the CEO in your title. Yeah. I don't think he would disagree with that either.
Right. Like, I don't know. Like, the whole thing was like, oh, should Phil leave or go? I have no crystal ball. I have no idea if things would be better or worse if somebody else was in charge instead of Phil. But he's still in charge. He still has to take blame. Yeah,
I don't think like all of this happened because Phil. I think a lot of it maybe it did. I think a lot of this is like is the environment that Xbox exists in, and trying to make these games is difficult. And it would be difficult for anybody being in charge, but he is in charge. These are his decisions. He's got to take responsibility for it. And again, I think he probably would admit that. James Collier says, do we think that these closures might have happened if Bethesda was still independent and the purchase just postponed it? Oh, these closures would have definitely happened. Yeah, that's the one. Like, everyone's blaming consolidation. You can blame consolidation. Clearly, there's problems involved there. These studios would have been closed a long time ago. They would have been closed.
I think they would have been closed when everybody was closing like all at once.
Yeah, I mean, some of these studios would have never made it.
Like, it's our time too to like,
right.
Yeah, definitely. Bethesda was in a bad way for a long time there. Like, yeah, these studios would have been closed already.
Right. I'm definitely disappointed in terms of like I would have thought that being under Microsoft and all of its its trillions of dollars would have provided some safety.
Right. That's why it's still shocking.
Upsetting.
Right.
That's why it's disappointing.
Yes.
But would it have been better like without them? Who knows? Again, I have no crystal ball. I imagine, closures would still happen. Again, maybe it would have been worse. Maybe it would have been better. I would guess not.
Right. But the point is, though, this is the world we live in. They did buy these studios, and they're the ones closing it. That's what happened. So that's what we're going to criticize. I do think these studios would have closed already. But who gives a shit about what ifs and what would happen? This is what's happening now, and so they will get criticized for it. All right.
God, it was such a bad sign how bad they fumbled Rare back in the day, right?
Yeah, I mean, and you want to be like, well, that's a different leadership, but it's like, it doesn't feel that different.
It doesn't feel that different.
Sludge Reinhold says, hello, dogs. Just played Super Mario Odyssey for the first time today, and it seems like a pretty good game. Why is no one talking about this?
God, I'm glad to talk about this for a second.
Yeah, please.
I think that might be the best video game ever. I really do. Oh my God.
I play it all the time next to the kids.
We finally do see that new 3D Mario game, because it's been a while, right? Because even when we did get Bowser's Fury, it's like okay, that's something. I didn't really understand just how good or how big that would be, so I didn't get super excited for that. But when they showed the next Mario game, whether it's Odyssey 2 or just some other new 3D thing, I'm going to lose my mind. You were there when we had the big reveal for Odyssey 1. We were covering that together, and we were losing our minds at that.
I was so excited that whole E3 because it looked so good. Oh. The song was great. The E3 booth was amazing. I was like,
we got
dancing.
the JPEG of the Metroid Prime 4 logo, and now we're arguing about its release date to this day. Right. Halcyon Days, weren't they?
Absolutely. And yes, Odyssey's incredible. Emmy Grubb will tell you it's her favorite game. So actually, no, right? Actually, no, I'm sorry. That was yesterday. Now it's Smash Brothers. Smash is her favorite game. So.
Also pretty good.
Yep.
Super Smash Brothers, by the way, is the third best-selling game on the Switch at 34.22 million copies sold.
God, man, I know, but I forget. It's just a powerhouse, Smash Brothers.
I do forget that because I remember when it was coming out, there was somebody I was kind of mad. I was like arguing with on Twitter. It's like, well, that's not that big a deal. I was like, look, I know maybe you don't play a lot of Smash Brothers. It is huge. It's
massive.
Only behind Mario Kart and like maybe proper Mario. But yeah, the Smash Bros. Games are always going to sell, and there will be a Smash Bros. Game on the Switch too. Don't know what that looks like. Not my problem though, but there will be one.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt. Dat Boy Jerry says the 1 year anniversary of Tears of the Kingdom is this Sunday on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to Purra. Also, when will Hyrule Hustle return? Hey, Hyrule Hustle is a favorite of ours. We'll definitely do another one at some point. But there's like a bunch of other things we want to do as well. Other kinds of races. There's one floating around.
Yeah, I got to do a Quackshot race with Dan once I get up to speed on that.
Yeah, there you go. And we want to do Bowser's Hurry, which is a Bowser's Fury run. Yeah. So we got ideas.
Yeah. That would be good, man. Tears of Kingdom, also a very good video game, right?
I love Tears of the
I
Kingdom.
loved it.
I'm like,
super good.
I do occasionally think, man, when can I find time to replay that? Maybe I should do Breath of the Wild too. L. Grug says, 1 year from now, what game will you be playing on your Switch 2? Also, I'm really concerned for Double Fine under Microsoft now. Yeah, I don't blame you.
I think I heard this point on Kind of Funny, actually. Look, you think they got heat now for these closures? You close Double Fine with the very public face of Tim Schafer. And look, maybe they don't care. Maybe they'll do it anyways. But, like, that is going to be a bad press day for Xbox.
And again, like Double Fine, I think they've said publicly they were going to close down if Microsoft didn't show up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. You took responsibility for that. You were supposed to give it a good home. Right. Give it a good home.
But it would be another similar. Maybe I'm mistaken, but what I think Psychonauts 2 is the only Microsoft published game that's been nominated for Game of the Year at the Keighley's, like, in forever, basically.
Yeah,
right?
God, wow. That might be right.
I mean, it was definitely nominated. I don't know if anything else has been.
Right.
Hi-Fi Rush didn't make the cut. Definitely wasn't Starfield.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 5 had that backlash because it wasn't nominated, right?
Deathloop did also, so there you go.
Deathloop. There you go, yeah.
There you go. So Deathloop. So yeah, but again, that's a very good game. Of course, it didn't sell a ton of copies, but it was supposed to not have to because it was on Game Pass. But I mean, we've already seen that excuse not work with Tango.
All right, let's see here. Where was I at? Well, no, he wants to know what game will you be playing on your Switch 2 a year from now?
Oh, right. Again, I hope it's the new 3D Mario game, honestly.
God, that would be nice.
Or Metroid Prime 4, right?
Yeah.
One of those.
Hey, listen, if I'm playing a new Mario and that's what's keeping me from playing Metroid Prime 4, I'm not complaining.
Here's a fun question. If let's say those were both launch games, which one are you popping into your Switch 2 first?
It would probably depend a little bit on how long each one is, but I think honestly I probably would do Metroid Prime 4 first.
Maybe Metroid Prime 4 I beat first, but I think you gotta make the Mario game the first game you play on your new Nintendo
That's
console,
a good
right?
point. Listen, if I have the chance to play a Mario game at launch and like play it, yeah, you're right. I probably would do that, and then probably spend some time beating Metroid Prime 4. That sounds like a decent plan.
This motherfucker says he's a bigger Metroid fan than me. I don't believe
this. Wow.
Let's see here. I think I'm at Clint. Clint Gilmore says, just sending some love to the Nintendogs tonight. Game Mess and Giant Bomb have been a bright spot. Well, or actually says Game Mess and GB, could be Giant Bomb or GamesBeat, have been a bright spot.
I'm going to assume Giant Bomb, but thank you.
Have been a bright spot even through all the shitty industry news. Yins Rock. Yins Rock too, Clint Gilmore.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Yeah, you know what that is.
Are they from Pittsburgh?
That's a dirty Pittsburghian. We don't want your love.
No,
I'm joking.
it's okay.
Thank you so much, Clint. Thank you. Jake S., who I'm just going to call Jakes, says, why...
the two Jakes.
The two Jakes. Why haven't we seen Star Fox Zero on Switch? Because Mike doesn't love it enough. He loves it, but not enough.
I'm like the only person who does like that game.
Not
apparently.
enough, though, apparently.
Look, that was like one of the few games that was really tied to the whole gamepad thing, for one thing. And also, the game didn't do very well in the Wii U. I think they're just not that concerned about it. It might be...
Bigger fish to fry, right? For ports, yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles X will eventually get ported, and then Star Fox Zero might be the only Wii U game we never get on another system.
Ali Miracle says, let's say Nintendo does a shadow drop of something big. What would be in between the realm of dream and reality, something like Dread was?
Something of Dread sizes, because like they could shadow drop Metroid Prime 2 remastered or like the Fire Emblem remake. I don't know if that's quite Dread size.
This is maybe a little bit more closer to dream than reality, but how about like the Oracle of Seasons / Ages remake from the Grezzo or whatever that team is.
Yeah, I think something like that could maybe happen. Again, I'd be like, I'd be like, I think you should market this. Actually,
sure, you're right, but shadow drop for those is probably they're probably too big for a shadow drop.
If I was Nintendo, if I was going to shadow drop things, it would be like NSO releases or chat saying it. If you're going to finally release Mother 3, that's when it doesn't really need marketing because everybody knows about that. That's just a big deal. If you want to have like something just kind of pop off on the socials, release Mother 3 finally. That one will take care of itself.
I'm still of the opinion if they release Mother 3, the shadow drop, and announce Mother 4, that it would be massive. Mother 4 would
huge.
be huge. It would sell like 10 million copies.
It's actually kind of insane that they won't make a new Mother, considering how well RPGs have been doing lately. And again, how little that would probably really cost them to
Yeah, and all that stuff.
Right.
Absolutely. Do we lose OBS? Am I still here, everybody? I just got the
You're
reconnected
here.
thing.
We
think-
drop a couple of
Okay, it
frames.
says
He just dropped a
reconnection
couple
successful.
frames.
Okay, sounds good. But we're good here. We're getting back into it. Let's see. Willow Davis says, I made a silly little jingle about Last of the Nintendogs. Check it out in the podcast producers section after the show or whatever. All right, sounds good. I'll definitely do that.
Oh boy. Incredible.
Man with the Sticks says, is there some external impetus causing Spencer at all to turn on a dime so severely? Their support for Tango was so public. They have to know how poorly this reflects on their commitments to Game Pass. Yeah, I mean,
the public support for Tango is partly because of what Jeff was saying, right? And they
okay. To be fair, I was told around that time that the support was real because they were serious about reinvesting in that studio. What changed from that?
Yeah,
I don't know. My guess would be a couple things, maybe because since then, right? Shinji Mikami left.
Shinji Mikami left, and I mean the other thing is just again, if Phil's bosses are saying, "Man, Xbox isn't making as much money as it should," does that happen? I mean, but I don't understand how that translates into kicking the little guy. So
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's Phil's bosses, but I think that they are maybe looking at the foundational numbers, the baseline numbers for the future growth of Xbox as a platform, as hardware sales, Game Pass, and everything. And I think they see something in those numbers that scares them and has them thinking we have to change everything. We have got to be way more aggressive. That's what all this feels like to me.
They do talk about how hey, we're like moving some studios, some people around to work on our biggest, properties or whatever. Is this about reshuffling Bethesda so they can get that Fallout game out sooner? Is that possible?
I mean, so they do say that this is about reinvesting in their high impact games, and that would be a high impact game. I think that is a factor, but that can't be what this is all about. That's crazy. I mean, before you do that, open the studio and announce that Fallout is coming. If that's what this is all about, is so that they have more resources and more people to put on that stuff. Say that you did that. And then a few months later, you close these studios if that was always part of the plan. That makes more sense. I don't believe that that's what's happened here. I think that there is something in the numbers that scares them. That's my theory. And I really, when we see the public numbers from MPD and all these other things, doesn't look great.
I mean, is it just such a reaction to Hi-Fi Rush going on PlayStation and doing very little on there? I know there's apparently Sea of Thieves doing well.
I think it was the last that was the last chance, I think. Yeah. I don't think it was a reaction. I think this was always I think we were always heading here. Because the original report I had was the game didn't make enough money. And then they come out and they say that they're happy with it or whatever, but they never really said that it made its money back or anything like that. And
right.
What I heard is it didn't. And it's
part of that is Game Pass makes that impossible to quantify in a lot of ways.
But then we get to this point where they're looking around and be like, well, this studio's not making enough money to justify itself. And overall, the strategy that we chose is not making enough money to make it so we could ignore that. I think that they tried to do a disruptive business change with Game Pass, and it disrupted things, but it disrupted their own business the most, and they sort of are in the middle of that skid, and it doesn't feel like they believe that they're going to be able to get the other side of that with Game Pass alone. So they are changing things up big time, and they're going to rely on Call of Duty instead.
It seems incredibly naive that they and even us, some of us thought that normal game sales will be just fine even with Game Pass, right?
Mm-hmm. It's weird.
It's weird. I mean, there's so many disruptive things, right? I mean, the chase to just offer the most value possible to make sure your one game or just a single company does well. Things,
totally.
Like 13-year-olds now, where the only game they ever played is Fortnite because they can just play that for free forever. Yep. It's just so removed.
And they see those numbers. They see how much time those kids spend on those games. So I think they realize how difficult it's going to be to pull them away in the future. And so they're like, the growth is not going to be there, and it's not there now. And so it is time to refigure everything. And the strategy that they had in 2018 when they started buying these studios I do not think it's the same strategy today anymore. All right, a couple more here from Epic Open World. Microsoft needs to follow the Sony/Nintendo, or needs to follow Sony/Nintendo and not say shit. Yeah,
I've heard this about, because, like, Microsoft does talk the most.
Yeah.
And now, a lot of those quotes are being drug up now to be like, hey, this is the opposite of what you were saying. So what's going on? And it's like they absolutely need to be criticized for that. But there is a part of me, it's like, oh, it's a shame if, like, the only solution is they also become this kind of,
Black
walled
box.
garden.
Yeah.
But we never hear from. And I feel like that could absolutely be happening.
I think they just need to speak, like, truthfully and stick to their guns and be out there in a way where it's like they have a vision, and so they can always speak to that vision, and that way they never say something contradictory. That would be the best case scenario. KJ Wars 85 is a new member, a Hamilton member. Thank you so much, KJ Wars. To let people know, I did put like a video up last weekend or this weekend, and it went up a little bit early for members on YouTube. I'm gonna try to find a way to do that so people on Patreon could see that as well. But for the immediate future, it might still work that way while I work out those kinks. Cody Clement says, I was getting Dairy Queen today and the total came to 911. Took every ounce of my will not to say, reminds me of that tragedy to the 18-year-old cashier.
As we're from before they were born.
Yeah.
Which maybe means they find those jokes the funniest.
Yeah, that's true.
Know.
Yeah, you never know. I do like people that are born like 2000 are always like, making those second plane has hit the building like George Bush jokes. So I'm like, okay, they're having fun, I guess.
Those George Bush ones are pretty good.
Oh, they always get me. What's that, Christian?
We just got another super chat.
Thank you. Here from Nintendogs. Do you think Capcom tries to do their own not E3 presentation again this year? With how successful their games have been, it's amazing to me how bad their previous presentations have been.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're always pretty weird. I think there's a chance that they'll do one this year because
maybe
Monster Hunter Wild and the rumors of Resident Evil 9. What were you going to say, Mike?
Sorry. They did one earlier this year that was kind of weird. I think they're gonna do that again.
Right, the one that like no one watched, and then suddenly people were talking about that. And wait, what?
Yeah, they in that one they show Akuma. It was like nobody watched those streams.
Right.
Like a week before that, they had Capcom Cup, which was one of the most views like streams of Capcom history, and they didn't show anything there. So
hey, they're too busy making good games to figure out all the other stuff. I'm fine with that.
They probably would have enough because they could talk about Resident Evil 9. They could talk about Monster Hunter. They could talk about the next season of Street Fighter. I think it might also be better to just let Keeley do that. Just give that stuff to Keeley.
Yeah, I agree with that. Input video here says it feels like a ton of industries overextended themselves the last few years. Can we just blame Jerome Powell and move on? Yeah, sure. Why not? Everyone else does.
Yeah, there you go.
That does it for the super chats, Mike.
Thank you so much, everybody. If you have any more super chats, we will get to them. But Jeff, we have a topic this week. I'm asking everybody, including you, for predictions from the June Direct. I think me and you are on the same page about a few things. I would be stunned if the Fire Emblem remake is in here. That seems like the most obvious thing to me, right?
Yes, definitely. That's. I mean, if it doesn't happen here, that game's just never coming out. What's going on?
Right. So let me talk about a few of the other ones I'm thinking about here.
Please.
Metroid Prime 2 Remaster. You think that's showing up?
Yeah, I think that's one that could also just shadow drop, right? That's a fine shadow drop.
That one they could.
Yeah, honestly,
they shadow drop the last one.
Honestly, just do 2 and 3 right, like back to back. Announce both.
Do them back to back.
Shadow drop 2 and say 3 will be out next month.
Well, I remember there was there was a time where what you were hearing was, or what you believed, is that these wouldn't be quite as remastered as the last
right. They won't be as robust of remasters as Metroid Prime 1. I don't think that's changed.
So if that's the case, then yeah, just bundle them together.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that would be perfectly fine. I think that'd be great.
All right. And hey, look, I dared to do it. I included a picture of Wind Waker in the thumbnail today, Jeff. I was feeling spicy.
Oh boy. That's because my name's on the YouTube channel. You can get away with it.
What do you think? Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, one or the other, both?
Yeah.
Neither.
I mean, I think that if you're going to have a direct in June, So that feels like a real big direct, like one of their bigger directs. I think the way that you could justify that and have it be worth everyone's time is if those games get ported. And those ones just make a ton of sense. I think they continue to be done and ready to go. So why not do it? At a certain point, you are running out of time. And, there's always a world in which they could save something like those games for the Switch too. They're big enough to be like, well, yeah, maybe we'll wait to slot them in then. But really, you delayed the Switch 2. You have some extra time. Put those games out this holiday. They would sell great. So
it would probably
I
be
think
the most that Wind Waker would have ever sold.
Yeah,
it's just in like that first month being available. On
I think it would crush. So I'm gonna say yes. I am choosing to believe.
Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah. Yes. No. It's happening. It's happening. Nintendo Direct. Again, they're doing a June Direct. Why do a June Direct if they don't have one big game? How could they really have...
You guys love to tell me it's not big enough.
Okay. It's bigger than a lot of the other stuff they could announce, though. And, okay. It's the kind of thing where, are you going to really do another Direct and not talk about fucking Metroid Prime 4 again?
Just watch them.
It's been 5 years since the reboot, like 7 years-ish since they first announced it. No, put that game out. It's time. Now, sure, it could still make some sense as a launch game, I suppose, or cross-gen thing. But no, just launch it this holiday. Let's do it.
Ridge Racer.
Oh, of course, yeah. Okay. I thought that went without saying.
Obviously.
But it's a port of Ridge Racer 64, so sorry.
Here is my prediction. I don't think necessarily everyone else is going to make, but I do think we get Xenoblade Chronicles X. I think that is getting remastered.
That'd be interesting, yeah.
I think because I think we had the Future Redeemed thing last year, right, or whatever, the final Xenoblade thing. Maybe it's a little early. Maybe there's another year till that actually, but still, maybe it's happening now. But I don't know. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Anything a little spicier that you think might actually show up at this?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because like you so many of the bigger things that would be spicy, just you immediately go, well, why wouldn't they save that for Switch 2? Because there's no expectations for those to come out now.
It's not like we're getting a Mario Kart.
Right. No, of course not. Right. Yeah. I don't know. Like they've done 2 WarioWare games. Have we had a Rhythm Heaven on Switch? No. Maybe get a Rhythm Heaven. I don't know. That team does WarioWare, and they just released that WarioWare game, so that's probably not even ready. The weird team. Oh! Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just saw in chat, Dason. Thank you. What about that Kid Icarus Uprising remake we thought was maybe happening?
Sure, yeah. Namco Bandai was working on that, I think.
Yeah, that's what we all thought, anyways.
Yeah, why not? That'd be great. That could happen.
I'm not gonna let you go. So you say Namco Bandai.
Nah, listen.
You gotta stop.
No, I'm not gonna stop. Clearly, I'm not gonna stop. They were called that for a whole 6 months. What do you want me to do?
Incredible. That's incredible.
I think though that Kid Icarus Uprising, like that makes a ton of sense. It's one whenever I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that'll probably get announced at the next Direct, and it hasn't happened. But man, if not now, when?
A few third-party things. Dragon Quest III HD?
Yeah, why wouldn't that show up here? That would be a great... Those games probably do sell best on Switch, those HD 2D games. So yeah, I think those probably show up. That shows up here. That'd be great. I would love for that to get another round of publicity.
The Metal Gear Solid Classics Collection, or whatever it was called, Volume 2?
Oh, I don't know.
Metal Gear Solid 4 on the Switch? That sounds naughty.
That is bizarre. That is abnormal. I guess I would like to see it, but I don't know.
I don't know if there's anything else third party ish here that.
Yeah, I try to think. Yeah, it's really tough. I think that's why we're like at this point where it's like it would have been easy to imagine that there wouldn't have been a Direct. So it's like when they say there's going to be one, I do get some of my hopes up. But I think it's going to be a lot of stuff that's like, oh, wow, okay, that kind of came out of nowhere. And I think it's where we're at. I think the ones that we've talked about, the ones that have been rumored before, almost all certainly happen here.
Oh, Warden Cliff says Ace Attorney 7. If there's like a Capcom thing to be announced just here. Although, unless, again, if Capcom's going to do their own show, they would do it here. But
yeah,
I'd like to see that
we'll get that Professor Layton update on that new Professor Layton game. That'll show up here.
Sure.
Yeah.
But boy, I'm excited for Ace Attorney 7. Well, you know what, Jeff? Okay, I'll have to do this one real quick. Silk Song.
No, that's gonna be at the Xbox show.
I think it's gonna be at the Xbox show.
Yeah, at this point,
Okay.
we're full on for the Xbox show for that.
Why don't we take one more break? We'll come back and we'll see what our podcast producers have to say about their own
Sounds
June
good.
direct predictions.
Break.
I'm gonna take the dog out again. Be right back.
Gotta take the dog out. Who let it?
Pump up.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, it's called Spoon Heaven. Get it right.
Yeah, get it right. Spoon Heaven and Namco Bandai.
Namco Bandai. Bandai makes Gundam. Don't disrespect the Bandai name, goddammit.
Well, I didn't. It's still in the name. Just where it belongs. Second.
Be second. No.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
Gundam is first. Always.
I'm sorry. I didn't know I was talking to such Bandai stands. Excuse
I'm
me.
a Bandai
We
fan.
play Tekken. Yeah, of course we are. What the fuck
Yeah,
are you
that's
talking about?
Namco. What do you want from me?
That's Namco. Yeah.
That's the Namco
Yeah.
side of things. I'm just an old
Gundam's
man.
so good.
That's all there is to it. I'm just an old man.
That's very true.
Yeah.
63 years
Normal
old.
man.
That's right. 63.
Oh, Jeff, you're getting a kick out of this. Hammond of Texas just posted this in the podcast producers comment on that video from earlier today. Someone said Grubb is looking different, and the channel says, "Does anyone really know what he looks like?"
That's some good
All
stuff.
right.
Starting to think they might have done this deliberately, but hey, oh well.
Engagement on Twitter.
Yeah, who could say? Who could say?
It's too good to be
Oh
real.
boy.
Jeff, you see the Pixel 6a or 8a?
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, I might consider it a little bit, but I think I'm still happy with my 7 Pro, and then I'll
You
wait.
have a 7 Pro. Okay,
I
I
have
thought
7
you had
Pro.
the 8.
My wife has an 8. I have a 7
I-
Pro. My wife.
I'm thinking about it because I got the 6A here. I don't need to upgrade from the 6A, but
Right.
they have one of those things where you can do a trade in, you can get a gift card. I'm like, like $200 to upgrade.
Yeah, and I the 5A, I really like the 5A. Those at that price, those phones make a ton of sense. So
what are you looking at phone nowadays? What's the thing that he has to have?
The 8A, so something that the 6A doesn't have that really bothers me is that it doesn't have face unlock, which being in a very cold
crazy.
state most of the time.
you
really
got the
pisses me
mittens
off.
on, yeah.
Exactly. So I can't use the fingerprints. I have to type in my PIN every single time. But if it had face unlock because I use Google Pay for everything now, that would actually save me a decent amount of time.
My shitty phone has face thing.
Do you have a Samsung? Yeah. Oh yeah, Samsung's better. Google did very early on, but they got flack for the whole you can unlock it with a picture of someone. So they strayed away from it all the way up until last year.
Yep. Mike, why did my the Disney stock go down so bad today?
Yeah, what the fuck, Mike?
I think it'll bounce back because the earnings report happened and it was very good for them, but they let
People not like the Lorcana set or
I
something.
lost $40.
Didn't the box office came out of most of the movies that
happened a bit ago about all that happened a bit ago. We knew those movies bombed, so that wasn't that shocking. I don't know. I've been having paid too much attention to Disney today. It's obviously been all Xbox for me.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, look, I don't know what people are upset about. What, did DeSantis ban Mickey again or something? I don't know.
But all the news,
Mickey's gay.
all the news for Disney now at this point is, man, they made a lot more money and they got 8 million subscribers on Disney Plus. So everyone's really happy. But that was all after earnings or after hours.
Maybe I mean the only thing I think of is that their projections for the next quarter or whatever must have been lowered for some reason. That's usually what it is.
We'll see. I bet it bounces back tomorrow.
You saying it's time to buy now? Okay.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
let's.
discount.
You ready?
All right.
Yeah,
let's
I'm
go
ready.
back.
All right. All right, Jeff, we're back. We have our podcast producers now with their own Nintendo Direct predictions, starting with Adam Juice, who's making me look like a fool. This was supposed to be my very special prediction, but they say Xenoblade Chronicles X Remaster. So I agree, Adam. I agree. Low Rule says, can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Metroid Prime 4 is shown and is launching in Q4 this year. Nintendo marketed it as a Switch title, and I think they will stick to that.
Hell yeah, Low Rule.
Why don't we get one more poll for funsies to see where everyone is standing right now in the chat if we can. Let's see if people think.
Do you think that we should tell people to go with what they think will happen and not what they want to happen?
Yeah,
I think most people want it to be Switch too.
Sure.
I think
what
you
you
want it to
think.
be Switch too.
Absolutely.
Right. I think that's part of what. I think that's part of it. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm human, but I want to know what you people think.
No, not you.
Nah.
You're too perfect.
Yeah, I wasn't born normally. I came from the Minotti spawning pool.
Yes. I started reading Brave New World, so that really hit with me right there, Mike. Good job.
There you go. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked that. Brave New World had that very cool opening where like every sentence it changes perspective or like it's that different. But never mind. Just
We can talk about it later.
Book. But yes, do you think Q4 for Metroid Prime 4 or do you think Switch 2? Q4, Switch 2. Those are your two options. If it's coming out between them, then we're all sons of bitches. So Nintendo market as a Switch title, I think they will stick to that. We'll see. Literal Casual says it's Zelda portent time. The blood is near. Our time is now. Hashtag the sheep blows. Man, I hope because I would be so happy, Jeff, to play Wind Waker again. That is still my favorite Zelda game. It is just one of my favorite games ever. I love Wind Waker.
Me too. And also, Dan started playing it on the Steam Deck OLED, which is something I had done. I did start it like a couple months ago, and it looks really good on there. And I'm like, if they don't do it, I'm just going to play it on the Steam Deck. I don't care anymore.
Would be tempting. Velocity Prime 1 is completely unironically Metroid Prime 4. The way they announced the Switch 2 announcement makes it feel like the last big game for the current console.
That's very interesting, Velocity Prime. Very astute.
I think it's very foolish, personally. Chaos Buckaroo System 3DS or Wii remake / remaster that comes out of left field, like Luigi's Mansion 2 or Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Maybe a solid wild one, like another Code. You try to think, like, what other Wii games are there? Like, if you wanted to put Wario Land Shake It on the Switch, you wouldn't have to do much because that game is already gorgeous with all the hand-drawn art.
The obvious one, clearly, Wii Music. Wait, what? That wasn't me.
What was that well-timed fart noise? Does that just happen whenever anybody says the words?
That was Robbie
Music?
Drums coming for us. Oh man,
that would be incredible. Actually, I mean, is there any chance they're like, hey, we never gave them Mario Galaxy 2?
No, because they would have given it to us if it was easy for them to do that. They're like, nah, this is too much of a challenge. We give up. Speaking of that, like real quick, they just had this financial report, and they're like, we're gonna talk about Switch 2, and that's gonna happen before the end of the fiscal year, and we're gonna have a Nintendo Direct in June. They're giving us all this warning. Mike, why wouldn't at that time they say, and hey, that Metroid Prime 4, that just to let you guys know, that's going to be shifting to be a Switch 2, or it's going to be coming much later.
I don't think anyone else thinks about Metroid Prime 4 as much as we do.
Well,
I don't think it's worth mentioning to them.
My overall point there is they've said it's a Switch game, and they have not ever corrected that record. So the expectation still, in their mind, would be that people thinking that it's a Switch game.
Yeah, it's coming out. What do they call it? The next version of the Switch or whatever. It's still a Switch. Jeff.
All right, shit.
It's just not that Switch. Mr. Bohr says Mike will get his hopes up for Silksong and be disappointed again. Applicable to all summer game mess. No, that's Xbox. We'll be fine.
I think it's happening.
Domino Crossing says my only prediction is no Metroid Prime 4 because it's cross-gen, baby. I don't even think it's gonna be cross-gen. I don't think there's going to be a Switch 1 version of that game, but maybe we'll see. What's the poll looking like for that right now? With
54% says Switch 2 game next year. 46% says Q4 for Switch.
All right, it's close. It's close. We're all gonna have a wild time when that finally gets settled.
Did you see you did squeak out the win in the Twitter poll?
I was right about the bots. I did not see that, but this is fantastic news.
It was 50% in the numbers, but yours got the check mark.
Wow.
Yeah.
There is some justice in the world. Man, Fred Flitz will be so excited. Uberher says, hope Metroid Prime 2/4 reality Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. Midori, right?
Yeah, Midori had a rumor that there's a game from Nintendo that's going to be coming, and it's got the codename Banquet. But Midori's a Sega Atlas leaker, and that's the only game that makes sense because there is the Paris Summer Games this year.
Right, and like, why wouldn't there be another one?
Right.
Maybe they'll make it interesting this time.
Well, let's not get out of hand. I think tried last time. It wasn't even that interesting. So
yeah, we have a series of Sonic and Mario crossover games, and they're just the most boring dribble you can imagine. Hammond of Texas says, my Metroid Prime 4 pre-order on Amazon now says arriving December 31st. I know it's just a placeholder, but just go along with everyone else here. Perhaps we will finally get some sort of update. They are not going to even say the words Metroid Prime 4 at this direct, you fools.
I either way, I can't wait, because if you're right, you're gonna rub it in my face, and if I'm right, I'm gonna do the same, and I can't wait. Either way, I'm gonna be very happy, because it's gonna be very funny.
We're both gonna be so shitty.
It's gonna be so obnoxious. Everyone's gonna just tell us to shut up. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Yep.
Noah Water says we get to see more of Deca Police from level 5 with a release date. Jeff Grubb, I do not remember what Deca Police is.
Yeah, Deca Police is always one that like someone will mention whenever there's a Nintendo Direct like rumor roundup or something. I'm like, huh, what's that? And then I never look into it. This is a level
5 ass looking game. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think I do like look at it a little bit. I'm like, I don't get it.
Oh, maybe we'll see more of Deca Police. Did that come too deep within the Minotti Judgment Zone?
No, that was smack dab in the right part of the Minotti Judgment Zone.
Just making sure. Cryorsis says, I would love a Metroid Prime 4 date or proof of life, but I feel the more likely scenario is Fire Emblem padding out the year. Yeah, we're going to get some big, fat Fire Emblem padding for sure.
Yep.
Which is, because there's that part of me, it's like, I might be a little Fire Emblem out.
Yeah. Boy, man, I hope Intelligent Systems gets a chance to like take a breather and find a way to make some stuff feel fresh. Because that Advance Wars remake that they didn't do, to be fair, but I feel like that like shut the door on Advance Wars so hard, because it was just those games again, and everyone's like, well, why the hell are we buying these? So I hope Intelligent Systems just gets a chance to do something interesting next time around.
Tommy Pencil says a bunch of GameCube, Wii U, and 3DS games. And you know what? I'm a fucking sicko, and I'll buy them all over again. Please laugh like a sicko, Mike.
Oh, gross. Tommy, I'm right there with you, bud.
What a specific 3DS games, Jeff? Do you think there's any chance of Link Between Worlds or something else?
Oh, man, if they put out Link Between Worlds, that would be fantastic. But no, I don't think there's a chance of that yet.
Well, okay, not Link Between Worlds, no. I wouldn't be shocked if Samus Returns got a port.
Yeah,
right?
Samus Returns. I would love it if they like just up-resed Mario 3D Land. I think that'd be great. But I think the chances of those are pretty slim. I tell you what, though, I had one of those mini PCs actually from Ioneo, and I have it set up on my TV upstairs, and I used EmuDeck for Windows, and it kind of broke halfway through because it's still in beta, but it mostly worked. And playing 3DS games that don't need touchscreen with a controller on your TV, it actually works way better than I thought, because they just put the main screen you're looking at on the left side, and they put the top and bottom over on the right, so it kind of doubles up. And it's just like, I'm like, oh, this is actually really crystal clear and everything. So I was playing that game again. It's real good.
Screaming Madden says F-Zero GX remaster, please. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
cool.
They're probably not doing much more with F-Zero at this point, I feel like. At least not right away.
Not right away. Maybe someday. Freedom McLiberty bosses a Zelda blowout.
That's our word. You can't use that word.
Look, I'll tell you what. It won't be a blowout, because it would only, at most, it would be Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. You can call that a blowout if you want to.
Yeah, I think our audience would.
They would blow it out. That's for sure. Fudsack says, I think Furukawa was using some reverse psychology to lower expectations, and then bam, super switch, I can dream. The one thing I'm not expecting is the next Switch, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, right. They're not doing that bait and switch.
Yeah. Bench JC says probably some Xbox games. I mean, there was a time where I thought maybe Hi-Fi Rush, but that's not happening.
Yep.
Gosh, Pentiment got shown off in the last direct in the montage, and wasn't that an indie direct anyways or something? I forget. It was the partner direct. Right. It was the partner direct, and the Pentiment was just there. So I don't know. Maybe there's something else from Xbox.
Diablo 4, let's go. It's about time.
Diablo 4 might be waiting for Switch too, but we'll see. Joyzy says Ocarina of Time 2, Mother 4, only in the Japanese direct. Nintendo versus Capcom.
Oh, I played that.
Fire Emblem Tactless, a dating sim. Donkey Kong Country the 4th, starring current DK's son. Daisy hard mode update for Princess Peach Showtime. Okay, that's the best suggestion here yet. And no mention of Metroid Prime 4. Haas says Pokemon Gen 1+2 to fill this year's mainline gap, please. If there was some kind of surprise Pokemon game, and I really don't think there would be, it would either be the black and white remakes or the Let's Go equivalents for Johto, the Gen 2 stuff. That I can't imagine anything else being here. Merkel says 100 Kirby's are dropped onto an island and ... Man,
at this point, why don't we have the Battle Royale Kirby game? I guess that they did that.
Just the last one to get sucked up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, honestly, one of those like .io games where it's like basically you're just playing as like a little blob that eats other blobs. Just do that with Kirby.
Yeah.
Kirby.io. I'd play that.
Willow Davis says Metroid Prime 2 Shadow Drop will either move physical copies available. Metroid Prime 2 Shadow Drop with either more physical copies available or none at all. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be shocked if there was a 0 physical version of Metroid Prime 2. It would make sense to drop the price of the Switch, but they could also just not, and it wouldn't matter. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
Yep.
It would make sense, but they could also just not do it. It would not be surprising.
And that's what I expect.
Reaper Wolf 5 says, honestly, I wouldn't put outside the realm of possibility that Xbox reveals the Toys for Bob Spyro game. We later see at this Nintendo Direct releasing day and date on Switch.
That's too soon.
I think it's too soon. I mean, they could have been it'd be weird if they were working on that while they got like moved off to their own thing. 'Cause they were working on that Crash thing, the team-based Crash game for a bit. But still, that was a game that reused a lot of assets from Crash 4. It'd be weird if that was their only project for a while. But also, they were helping out with Call of Duty. So I think that's where everything else was going. So, yeah, I just talked myself into it. Absolutely not too early for a Spyro. What happened? So, yeah, wait a second. Toys for Bob was helping with Call of Duty. Was that help just not important? Who's doing that work now?
I don't know. Not.
What does helping Call of Duty need?
I think it means making 3D assets.
Doing their taxes? Like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing?
Someone needs to come in here and count their money.
Are you getting them sandwiches? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, maybe.
Are you modeling like a wall?
They're almost certainly modeling a wall and helping with map, like placing trees on multiplayer maps. Yeah.
Shiomiro says, I predict Mario Baseball featuring Shohei Ohtani.
Actually, that wouldn't be surprising. The Mario Baseball is one that's been rumored, but honestly, Shohei Ohtani, like being involved in the game, Shiomiro, that's inspired because they had a big deal with like Ken Griffey when he was playing for the Mariners because they owned the Mariners at that time, or at least they were partially involved. And now Shohei Ohtani, a global superstar from Japan, that would be very cool.
I would love a Mario Baseball game that still had all of the MLB teams.
Right,
like,
yeah.
There's like the wacky Mario team and like the Bowser team and then like the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
like that.
That would rule. Also, like do a real like serious franchise mode and you could just draft Bowser. Like, yeah, right. That'd be great.
Yeah. Or, or have like the RPG mode like in Mario Golf for Game Boy Color that I played for 15 hours and have not seen Mario one time, aside from like a picture of him on a wall. It's good. JBH1224 says, Metroid Prime 2 will shadow drop digitally with physical to come later, and 3 coming at the end of the year. Gosh, that would make a lot of sense.
I would very much like to play those again, too.
Jeff, I want to play Metroid Prime 2 and 3 so bad because I'd actually never beat either of them.
I beat 2, but I don't remember it the way I remember Metroid Prime 1. I never even really played 3.
It's weird that I didn't play much of 3 because it was an early Wii game, and I'm sure I was desperate for things to play on my
When did
Wii.
it come out? What year did that come out?
Maybe early 2007?
I bet I didn't have enough money, and then Call of Duty 4 happened, and that's why I never played it.
I don't know. I have no idea what my excuse would have been, honestly.
Well, you were too busy,
Was that my party year? No,
yeah, I was gonna say, too busy getting down with the ladies. I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it in a much more crude way, but yeah.
I know what you were gonna say. Yeah, you filth. I beat it. Jamie continues. And like 3 was originally only on Wii. When went to her GameCube, 4 will be exclusive too. Switch 2. It's a good point, Jamie H1224.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo does prefer to move these games. When it's not like they released Super Paper Mario on GameCube.
This is a new Nintendo that sticks to their guns. I don't know what you're talking about.
And also Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild would disagree with my point.
Yeah.
So. Perry O'Toole says, the one game that needs to be ported to the Switch, Xenoblade Chronicles X. If the Zelda ports do show up, I would like Nintendo to offer Jeff's hair as DLC content for Daddy Ganondorf.
Yeah, sure, why not? I got it still stapled to my garage wall. I'll give it to him.
Dr. Ryan says it will have some good and fun stuff. It will be mostly filler. There will be one cool announcement at the end, and then Twitter will complain.
So Nintendo Direct.
There you go. OSB Clothing just has a picture of the Hollow Knight in his clown getup.
Oh yeah, that's the Spoon Heaven.
Spoon Heaven. Mech says to put more focus on the Kongs due to the new park attraction in any future DK game. I predict Donkey Kong 64 and Diddy Kong Racing on NSO. That's nice. Yeah, I haven't really thought about the NSO angle. Hope we get some cool stuff here, like some of the big ones that we don't have yet, like Donkey Kong 64 or Metroid Zero Mission. Something of that caliber would be exciting to see here.
Yes, I'd be very happy with that as well.
Team Money OG says, I hope we get a release date for Metroid Prime 4 and the long-awaited Zelda blowout. For a more realistic wish, I hope we get a release date for Professor Layton in the New World Steam. I think that is realistic and could absolutely happen. Jeremy Pitt says,
I think we'll see that. No, I was just gonna agree.
Jeremy Pitt says, I just want gameplay Pokemon Legends ZA. So yeah, that game got announced. It's coming out next year. I would love to see what that game actually is, because like even though it has Legends, so you assume it'd be just like that. But then it had like that like city planning thing. It's like, wait, is this a city builder? Like, what is this game exactly? So I would love some clarification.
Yeah. Do you think that them doing a Nintendo Direct in June, do you think there's a chance we might like get invites to like see stuff in LA during SGF?
Well, some people might. I don't know.
Well, okay. In general, yes. Like if we were one of those people, yes.
I don't know. Honestly, no. I don't think they're going to be doing anything with press.
I don't know. Okay.
Brock Ness Monster says Sega Saturn for NSO or Dreamcast. Give me something coming Sega Relay for NSO. Look, I don't know. First of all, I don't know about any new consoles. It's been a long time since we even got a Genesis game on NSO right now. So I don't know how like up in Sega and Nintendo are with NSO stuff right now.
Yeah, but Sega Saturn on NSO. Let's go.
Jeff, I would love it. I'd be very excited. Octo says just screenshots of Twitter posts that start with "This is Nintendo person." Splat Gooner, that's a good name. Splat Gooner says,
"Okay,
F-Zero GX remastered. God, I wish. Gosh, that would be one that would pop so hard for. I don't know." Vision 49 says would be very fun if we finally got 2 Zelda ports, but it's just both of the 3DS remakes. I would still like that.
Yeah, honestly, I would love to have those on Switch. It would like ideally once the Switch 2's here and it's fully backward compatible, every Zelda is playable on the Switch. That would be ideal. And like with those, including those ports, I mean, because I think you can play, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on NSO, but I want those ports as well.
Colorado Knights of the Old Republic says Mario Kart 99. That's an interesting point. We have F-Zero 99. You could make like a Mario Kart 99 that's kind of in that Mode 7 style, and that would definitely make them money. I think a new 99 game is a possibility. Mario Kart 99 really works. God, F-Zero 99 though is so good that I'm like, I don't know if they need another racing one. I would like to see like WarioWare 99 or Rhythm Tengoku 99. That'd be cool, but whatever. Shoji Ko says Four Swords Adventures 99. What about that?
Ooh, okay, yeah,
or just
sure.
99 Swords Adventures, if I may.
99 connectivity compadres get together. Let's go.
I still don't want to play it with Dan. Leia, the hottest mess, says, I am once again asking for that Wind Waker remaster. Please, my family is dying. I'm so sorry, Leia.
Yeah, I don't know what we can do to help you. I'm so sorry.
Input name here says, Hi-Fi Rush coming to Nintendo Switch. Oh.
Yep.
I mean, there were those data mined like Switch shirts. It was supposed to happen at some point.
Yep. Didn't it also just get like rated? I don't know. Whatever.
Probably. Crouching Boomer Hidden Zoomer says Super Captain Toad 2 Turbo.
No, not until I finish the first one.
Yeah, right. We got to play that supposedly. But it's not insane if they released a Captain Toad 2. I guess I don't really know if they'd bother.
Yeah, I mean they did Captain Toad in the Mario games. Then there's Captain Toad on 3DS and on the Switch, right? Wii U. Yeah.
It was Wii U first, yeah.
They've had a lot of Captain Toad. I think they're probably okay for a while.
I mean, it's all the same game, though.
No, yeah, for sure. But it's like, I think they're probably fine. They're not going to put out a sequel to that game on the Switch when they already have a Captain Toad on the Switch. There's no way.
Yeah, we already had a Pikmin on the Switch.
Yeah, but Pikmin 4 had been announced long before, and Deluxe happened like in the intermediate.
Right. Plus Pikmin's got that. It gets some Shiggy juice every now and then. I don't think Shiggy's giving any of his juice to Captain Toad.
No, as much as Captain Toad would love that.
That was a terrible sentence.
No, we all knew what you meant.
Lenny Cool Dick Dever says, I'd like a new F-Zero before I die, or GX remastered. It is incredible if all the F-Zero fans, like, they are being so nice. They are being so willing to meet Nintendo halfway. They would be just as excited for a GX remaster.
Well, I mean, the GX remaster means we could play that game online, and that would rule.
Yeah. So since Lenny would like that, we'll get Daikatana 64 and NSO just in time for Mitch Tokoto's Blight Club turn.
Yeah, that's still a possibility.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's Daika Grubb, but it is Grubb Katana. That's what it was called.
This is why I do it.
Nick says R4 port. I hope they mean Ridge Racer Type 4.
Oh, certainly.
Can R4 be something else?
It's an R4, the thing you used to the.
Oh yeah, a port of the R4 cartridge that enables you to play ROMs on the DS. Card. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna assume
Nick Riker on chat says it's Daika Grubb. I don't know.
Oh, well, that's the expert right there.
Yeah,
it's funny that the YouTube video says something else. Daniel says, I can't believe that he was so confident in Daika Grubb, but he's like, I'll just have him go and do that. And
many people in the poll agreed with him.
I hate when my words are used against me. Daniel says, genealogy of the Holy War remake, please. I think you will get your wish.
I think you are guaranteed to get that.
Yeah, JD Kemp says some bullshit Yoshi game. Please spare me.
They wouldn't do another Yoshi game already. Especially Goodfield just did that Princess Peach game, so they're busy.
Inu Faces, Ogre Bow 64 and NSO. That'd be great. Yeah.
I would love that.
I'm glad that I don't think you need to remake that game. Just put that game on NSO. That'd be awesome. That'd be super neat. Laser Wolf says, honestly, probably nothing that exciting, as they know Switch 2 will be out soon enough to get everyone hyped again. Maybe not something that exciting, but maybe a few
they gotta
things
sell 13 million of these things. They're gonna have to have something.
13 million of them. We'll see. Bradfish says Ace Attorney 7. I really, really hope so. Big Tony, the Final Fantasy guy, says my dogs. They have to complete the lineup. There's Mario Super Sluggers. Like, I guess when I think of like normal sports games, those are always timed with the start of a season. I guess Nintendo doesn't necessarily have to follow that logic.
It would at least be during the baseball season, right? If it's in the summer, so that'd be fine.
So yeah, I guess that's fine. I mean, if they announced a Mario baseball game, I don't think that's one that's like coming out months from when they announced it.
No, that would be like a month later at most.
B says, "Oh God." Oh, I say, on God, meaning Miyamoto. Give me. I think they meant, oh God. Oh God,
no. They meant on God.
They meant
I
on
promise
God.
you, they meant on God.
Yeah.
It is slang. They meant on God.
What? That's slang?
Yep, on God,
Yeah.
Mike. It is.
It's
Yes.
Zoomer for
That's what it means.
it's Zoomer for I swear to God. Mike.
Yes.
That can't be possible. I'm hip, and I never heard that before.
You never heard on God.
Well, it's what's the first time. First time it has to happen to everybody eventually, Mike.
Yeah.
Get out,
A lot of things were being talked about on Twitter this weekend that made me feel pretty unhip. On God, meaning Miyamoto, give me Xenosaga HD Collection, Xenoblade Xenoblade X Remaster, excuse me. I got Godzilla Cross King Kong Build, or Shin Megami Tensei 4 Remaster, but we'll probably get some half-baked sports game. Xenosaga, I don't know. I don't know about Xenosaga. Those games are weird.
Yeah. Those, do they fully have control of Xenosaga over at Square Enix?
I'm not I don't think so. No, Namkai Bandai, as you like to say, I think was them.
Namkai Bandai, yeah.
Yeah, Square Enix was not Xenosaga anymore.
Jesus, okay.
They were only Xenogears, Square Enix.
Xenogears is what I'm thinking of. Okay, Jesus, that's all weird.
Well, Xenogears is them. Xenosaga's weird. Nick Turbo says Kid Icarus. There's a good chance there. Wong Gift says definitely Mother 3 in English. Wind Waker Twilight Princess Collections, Xenoblade Chronicle X, Labo 2, 32X on Switch Online Expansion Pass, probably actually some Nintendo sports games. Seriously, everybody, 1-2 Switch and 10 cozy farming games. I think I would be triggered if 32X was like a separate NSO console icon.
So it works with the same emulator, yeah.
Game Boy Color wasn't. I think that would trigger me. Gigante says it's time. Give me Mario Baseball. A lot of people thinking maybe Mario Baseball. Weed Hater says Woohoo Island's Most Wanted.
I would like a game an open world crime game on Woohoo Island would be incredible.
Adam Asleep says Shadow Drop NES Championship Remix. Oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
that
we forgot
is,
about that. Yeah,
whatever that is works.
I really hope it is the successor to NES Remix, just with a way better structure, and I hope it has awesome. We just reconnected again. I hope it has awesome speed run like leaderboards for everything. Yes. That would be fantastic.
And then Turbo Sean says there's 2 of us, Mike. 2s, and it's Star Fox 0. That's right. That's right. Sean understands. And look at that. Sean likes it even though Crystal's not in it, which was pretty rude of him.
That's big of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sean. All right, Jeff. I think we have some more super chats.
Yeah, let me end this poll real quick, and then I'll get to the super chats. All right. Let's see.
You want to read the results of the poll?
Well, listen. Okay, let's see. It takes a second. Metroid Prime 4 is a Switch 2 game next year. 58% agree with that. A Q4 for Switch game this year. 41% agree with that. That's after 221 votes. So
very interesting.
Yeah, most people tend to agree with you, but again, I think I don't think it's most of what people want.
Lots of people agree with you.
Many people in the poll agree with me.
Many people agree,
which in a lot of ways sounds more important. So. All right, let's see here. I read Willow Davis. I did KJ Wards. Let's see here. I think we're at Jared Helder. Why do people say Switch 2? It could be the Wii 3.
God, that'd be messed up.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I think of course it's possible. We'll see. Wii 3, do you think they would do Wii U 2? Why wouldn't they just do Wii U 2? That's more.
I wondered. Why not? They should do like the Dark Forces series. Wii 3.
Oh my God, yes.
Wii U 2. No, wait. Wii 4, Wii U 3, Switch 2. Whatever the bullshit
name is, whatever the new one is. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Revolution.
Z, says, do we see Xenosaga supports in the June Direct?
That's the second one for Xenosaga. Maybe this is just a me thing. I don't think so. I thought Xenosaga, even within the grander Xenoverse at this point, that's pretty niche. Xenosaga was a weird PS2 thing that even at the time, a lot of people were like, this is pretty obtuse. This sure is a lot. I don't know. Maybe someday you'll get some Xeno. I'd be pretty surprised, even with different people owning these things, if we got some kind of Xenosaga re-release or remaster before Xenogears.
The Telix. So, excuse me, it says Mario B-ball game, or that just won't fly in Japan?
No, they love baseball in Japan.
B-ball, basketball. But to your God, Mike, come on.
Square Enix is probably too busy to make a sequel to 3-on-3 hoops.
Yeah,
right?
3-on-3 hoops, exactly. I think basketball is growing in popularity everywhere. It's becoming a much more global sport, which is why Europeans are beating Americans all the time in the Olympics.
Boo.
I think Japan probably would be okay with a basketball game, but not before a baseball game. And frankly, Shiomiro, the more I think about Shohei Ohtani, if he's in that baseball game in Japan, that game will sell like crazy. And the Switch is still selling super well in Japan. So I'm all aboard that. I'm adopting that as my belief that's what the next Mario sports game.
You know who else beat you at basketball in the Olympics?
Is it Argentina?
It's definitely Argentina, yes.
Beat your ass.
Absolutely. Argentina's got some great basketball players, absolutely. El Grug says Pikmin 4 DLC for the Direct. Let me dream.
Has that ever been did Pikmin 3 ever get DLC? I haven't got deluxe version.
I think Pikmin 3 might have had some DLC, but I don't know. I played
Nintendo
deluxe.
And DLC is always so wild. It's like they got like some kind of like dice that decides which games they're going to release DLC for.
Yeah, right. And I think they come and go in waves where it's like sometimes like everything's getting DLC, and then it's like Twilight Princess is definitely not getting DLC. It's like, oh, okay. All right. Jedi Moss 80 or Jedi Moss 4 says the upcoming Planet of the Apes from Westball appears to be getting early positive marks. Does this give you some confidence in his Zelda movie? It does. Because for one thing, I really like those Apes movies, and I was like, okay, is he going to be able to like keep that level of quality going? And it sounds like that's exactly what he's done. And yeah, he's talking a big game about Zelda. I'm not like fully on board, or I'm going to believe this is going to be the second coming of Christ.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be in a world where it's like, oh, I prefer this over something trying to like echo Ghibli or something. But hey, Westball, go for it. I believe in you a little bit.
It's just such a a script challenge with a Zelda movie, right?
There's a
Like,
lot of challenges, but definitely yes.
How do you tell a Zelda story in like 2 hours? I don't know. Good luck.
That does it for the super chats, Mike.
Fantastic. Jeff, I've been playing a couple Nintendo things. More of a what I forget the name all of a sudden.
It's called the Switch.
Every single night. What? No. I beat that. That's not on a Nintendo.
Oh, did you 100% it?
No, I want to though because I bet it's super fun.
I did.
Very
It
cool.
is. There's some really great challenges. It does the thing where
Was there a second quest?
No, I'm like trying to decide. No, I'm not going to spoil it. It's not like a story because that game's very light on story, but it's like it's a thing that happens at the end. I'll just let you experience for yourself and see. But it surprised me, and I'm like, okay, I'll do this thing. But yeah, that was a fun game to 100%.
Unicorn Overlord is the name I was brain farting on, but I'm like 30 hours into that game now and still having a very good time. Definitely not the end isn't like super in sight, but I'm getting there. But on Star Wars Day, I did celebrate by playing Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike on my Nintendo GameCube. And that was a lot of fun. It's funny, for as much love as Rogue Leader gets from everyone, including us, people don't really talk about Rebel Strike very much. Look, Rebel, it's still a very good game.
I still like it a lot.
But boy, it is weird in ways, and that the whole like on foot stuff in that, it really is incredibly half baked because there really is nothing else to it except you run around and spam the shoot button to shoot people, and that's pretty much it. And like, it's just weird because like there's one of the late levels is an on foot only level where you're Luke running around Dagobah, like getting training from Yoda. So you get to hear Yoda say things like press the B button to use the Force. So that's incredible. But like,
did they get Frank Oz?
No, they did not.
They got John Lithgow from the radio play.
And it's just like, and there's tutorials there. It's like the second last level to teach you how to deflect laser shots. And then like there's one level after that where you're on foot as Luke, and it's a 90-second long level in Return of the Jedi where you're jumping between Jabba the Hutt's barges. Like that's the other kind of weird thing. It's like Rogue Squadron was kind of an expanding universe story, right? Set in between the movies, it had its own story. Rogue Leader was a bit more of a greatest hit Star Wars thing, but it's still it felt connected. This one is really just like a hodgepodge, like mostly greatest hits things. There are separate like missions for Wedge Antilles, and that's more original stuff. Big surprise, it's the best stuff. But then it's like the Luke Skywalker path is again, it's like the one level what was Dagobah, and then like the next one is you're on Endor. I'm like, what? Oh, okay, we're just really jumping around here with kind of no rhyme or reason to it.
And it was like they were just like bumping up against what they could do with Star Wars and how they could expand this technology into some other ways, because it's like, oh, it is getting a little bit rote at this point. People know what to expect. And the N64 started with Shadows of the Empire, not them, but it had the Hoth level, and everyone's like, oh my God, look what you could do with Star Wars in 3D. This is amazing. And then Rogue Squadron kind of built on that over time, that series did. And then they got to, the third entry and say, okay, we got to like maybe change some stuff up here a little bit. And I just don't think they ever really figured that out. And it's obvious in the final game.
Right, you could feel that pressure. But again, when it's like just being a Rogue Squadron game, it could be really good. And there's like the one Wedge mission where you go to Geonosis and you discover an abandoned Jedi starfighter. So you get to fly that around and you get to use those sonic bombs from episode 2, right?
I love that.
This stuff's still really good. So it was still a lot of fun to play through. I'm glad I did do that. But yeah, I mean, it is no Rogue Leader.
Yeah, I've mostly been playing Hades 2, which will eventually be a Switch game of some sort.
Yeah, I've been playing a bit of that too.
Yes, I
can't believe you kept trying to dissuade me from playing early access.
I know.
This game's already good, Jeff.
I need to learn my lesson.
I want to murder you.
I'm so close-minded. That game's really good, and when it comes to Switch, I'll probably honestly play it again. That's how good it is.
Yeah.
I today playing that game very much got into the one more turn, and I felt time slipping away, and I'm like, oh, this is one of my busy days. I can't afford that. But then it's like the kids still nonstop with the Switch. They want that thing all the time. I got both the Switches working. But now they want to play on my Switch when they're playing Smash Brothers because it has more characters unlocked. I'm like, oh, I need to get the rest of the characters unlocked for you guys on both these accounts. I'm like, I don't have time for that shit. I'm like, maybe I could just hire Mike Minotti to come and play this Smash Brothers while I unlock all these characters.
Is there no way to like get saves onto the Switch?
I don't know.
No method for that?
Probably not an easy way.
You get killed by a lawyer somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. Lawyer come out and
But hey, it's fun to play Smash Brothers with them. It's fun to like, just get a random Mario game out and play that. They're just always giving me a reason to play that stuff. But it's like, a little bit here, a little bit there. The other thing go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was about to say, I hope you don't like go easy on them in Smash Brothers, but then I remembered how bad you are at Smash Brothers.
No, yeah, they just beat me. No worries. Yeah. Then I got the Joystick Jazz, the Blue Shift Big Band playing iconic video game hits, volumes 1 and 2. The cover art for these, very good. There's Donkey Kong. There's Link. I think we got Banjo and Kazooie and then Mega Man down here. And on this one, you could see Mr. Grim Fandango himself.
That's Manny Calavera.
There you go.
The name.
Yeah. And like these things aren't like, they have like a handful of tracks on each side. This one's got like an Ocarina of Time suite with a bunch of them, and the DK Island swing from Donkey Kong Country. The kinds of things that would be really good from a big band. I haven't opened them yet. What's that?
Is that Sora?
Yeah, it's Sora. Yes, with a Keyblade. Yep.
Oh my god.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see Let's see. Aquatic Ruin Zone from Sonic 2, and Don't Think Twice from Kingdom Hearts 3. Is that a song, Mike?
That is a song, absolutely.
Either way, this is from I Am 8-Bit. I think video game music on record albums is very cool.
I ordered the Mega Man 2 and 3 soundtracks come in kind of one collection on two discs, but one package. Just the original soundtracks, but I was listening through those while cooking dinner the other day, and gosh, that was nice. Yep. I mean, you can imagine how much I enjoyed that. You got me that record player just like a month ago, I think, and I've been getting so much use out of that thing.
Yeah, I'm glad. I was like, you had mentioned it before, and I was like, oh, that'd be a good present. Other than that, though, it's probably going to be a lot more Hades 2 around here, so we'll see if I have time for the Switch. I would like to go back to Unicorn Overlord, but I'm also feeling like there's a bunch of other games I want to catch up on and play, and like I want to finish Expeditions, a Mudrunner game, and all that stuff. So we'll see if I'm able to make more time for the Switch. I did also play a little bit more Mario Golf. I want to finish that campaign. I want to see Mario.
Where's Mario?
Yeah.
That fourth course or whatever. That's like no joke.
It's tough. Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. I still have not been able to finish first in the tournament, and I don't think I've been able to beat everyone on that course. So like all the champions that you can challenge. But great game. So I'm gonna keep playing that. But that's it for me, Mike. Anything else from you?
No, Jeff. I think that's it. I think we're gonna unless any more super chats slipped in. I'm not sure.
No more super chats. We're all caught up there.
We're good to get out of here.
I'm gonna hit the button then.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, listening to Last of the Nintendogs. There will be a Game Master Decides on Thursday. What? Last of the Nintendogs?
You said the Nintendogs. Something weird.
We stopped being able to speak at this point in the podcast.
Wow, I slurred my words slightly, and you just come crashing in.
Mike,
what'd you say, idiot?
Mike is the worst at speaking English on this podcast. That's for sure.
Fair. Hey, Blood Club tomorrow.
I gotta fucking connect the game sent. Damn, what? How do I plug it into like in between the monitor and the HDMI to the PC?
At least it's not here anymore. You're in trouble. You're in big trouble. We also did a demo derby with Dan. That's out right now on.
Yeah, that's up on Giant Bomb. People should go watch that. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun. It was good stuff. Even though I'm still kind of upset at Dan's inability to play Rayman 3 very well. But
yeah, it was bad.
His loss.
Bye, everybody.
Nintendogs.
It sounds like Nintendogs when you say it. I don't even know what you're getting at. Thought there would have been more soundboards about coming by now, to be honest. Must be really waiting.
Took me 11.5 hours to beat it.
That's it, yeah.
I don't get horny, I stay horny.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Do I have to show my dick and asshole?